For 16 years, one man moved silently through hospital wards, a syringe as weapon, and hundreds of innocent lives, his victims. This is the chilling true story of Charles Cullen, one of America's most prolific serial killers, hidden in plain sight as the good nurse. Into keep often sacred spaces of hospitals, where the line between life and death is constantly navigated. Nurses stand as pillars of care and compassion. They are the unsung heroes, dedicating their lives to healing and comfort. But what happens when this trust is not just broken, but brutally twisted? What happens when the very hand meant to save becomes the instrument of a silent, insidious death? This is the chilling true story of Charles Cullen, a man known to many as the good nurse, and the incredible bravery of the woman who ultimately stopped him. For over a decade and a half, from the early 1990s to 2003, Charles Cullen wove a terrifying tapestry of murder through 9 different hospitals across New Jersey and Pennsylvania. To his colleagues, Cullen was unassuming, often quiet, yet helpful and competent. He was known for his calm demeanor, his willingness to assist others, and his preference for the night shift, a time of heightened solitude and intense responsibility. He moved seamlessly through the healthcare system, leaving a trail of unexplained deaths in his wake. Cullen was, in reality, of America's most prolific serial killers. His weapon of choice was not a gun or a knife, but the very medications intended to sustain life: insulin, digoxin, epinephrine, administered covertly and often in lethal doses. These drugs caused patients, many of whom were already vulnerable or in recovery, to suffer sudden and catastrophic medical events. Their heart rates would plummet, their blood sugar would crash, or they would experience inexplicable allergic reactions. Code blues would be called, frantic attempts at resuscitation made. Too often, these efforts were futile. The deaths were frequently dismissed as complications of the patient's underlying conditions, tragic but seemingly unavoidable reality in a hospital setting. The insidious nature of Cullen's crimes made them incredibly difficult to detect. When suspicions did arise, perhaps from an observant nurse or a puzzled doctor, Cullen would simply resign and move to another hospital. What is most shocking is the consistent pattern of systemic failure that allowed him to continue his reign of terror for so long. Hospitals, concerned about their reputations, fearing lawsuits, or lacking concrete proof, rarely reported their suspicions to the authorities. Instead, they would often allow Cullen to depart quietly, sometimes even providing him with a neutral or even positive reference. This effectively passed a predator from one unsuspecting institution to the next, placing countless lives at risk. The grim cycle continued until Charles Cullen arrived at Somerset Medical Center in New Jersey. It was here that he encountered Amy Loughren, an intensive care unit ICU nurse whose unwavering commitment to her patients would ultimately expose his monstrous acts. Amy's life was already a struggle. A single mother dedicated to her 2 daughters, she was secretly battling a severe, life-threatening heart condition that necessitated a transplant. Exhaustion was her constant companion, and fear for her future was a heavy burden. Yet, she persevered, driven by her love for her family and her deep sense of duty to those under her care. When Cullen joined the night shift at Somerset, he quickly forged a bond with Amy, who was kind, understanding, and offered to help her with the physically demanding aspects of her job, knowing she was unwell. Their shared experiences on the challenging night shift, the intense pressure, and the quiet moments of camaraderie led to a genuine friendship. For Amy, Charlie became a trusted confidant, a much-needed source of support in her isolated and difficult world. However, the dark pattern that followed Cullen began to re-emerge at Somerset. Unexplained code blues and patient deaths started to increase. Amy, with her sharp clinical instincts and profound empathy, began to notice troubling inconsistencies. She observed patients who were seemingly improving suddenly deteriorating after Cullen had been in their rooms. She also found discrepancies in medication charts, drugs signed out but not administered, or administered in ways that didn't align with patient needs. These were subtle clues, small cracks in Cullen's carefully constructed facade. To Amy, they were growing increasingly significant and alarming. Despite the growing evidence and the whispers among the nursing staff, the hospital administration at Somerset, much like the previous institutions, remained resistant to acknowledging the truth. Concerns raised by nurses and doctors were often met with skepticism, dismissal, or even threats, perpetuating the very system that had allowed Cullen to operate with impunity for so long. It seemed unfathomable that a nurse, a supposedly good nurse, would be responsible for such heinous crimes. Eventually, the sheer volume of suspicious deaths at Somerset drew the attention of local police detectives, Tim Brown and Danny Baldwin. Their investigation revealed Cullen's history of employment at multiple hospitals, each with a corresponding rise in unexplained patient deaths. They quickly recognized the chilling pattern but faced an immense challenge, proving murder in a hospital setting, especially when medical records were ambiguous and the administration was uncooperative, was incredibly difficult. The detectives realized they needed an insider, someone who knew Cullen personally, worked alongside him, and was willing to risk everything to uncover the truth. Their search led them to Amy Loughren. When Brown and Baldwin approached Amy with their suspicions, presenting the evidence they had meticulously gathered, it was a devastating blow. The revelation that her kind, supportive friend, Charlie, could be a serial killer was a profound betrayal. The emotional shock weighed heavily on her already compromised heart, creating an unbearable conflict between her personal feelings and her professional duty. How could the man who had shown her such kindness be capable of such monstrous acts? Yet, Amy Loughren was a nurse, and her core ethos was to protect her patients. The well-being of the vulnerable transcended her personal comfort, her friendship, and even her own safety. Despite her failing health and the intense emotional turmoil, Amy made a truly courageous decision. She agreed to help the police. This commitment placed Amy in an incredibly precarious and dangerous position. She had to maintain the pretense of her friendship with Cullen, working alongside him, all while secretly gathering information for the detectives. She wore a wire during shifts, endured intense and emotionally draining debriefings with law enforcement, and meticulously reviewed patient records, searching for the definitive proof they needed. Every interaction with Charlie became a high-stakes performance. Every shift a terrifying tightrope walk. Her life, her career, and her fragile health hung precariously in the balance. The detectives carefully coached Amy, preparing her for critical conversations designed to elicit a confession from Cullen. In a tense, emotionally charged encounter at a local diner, Amy confronted Charlie. She appealed to the genuine bond they had shared, the humanity she desperately hoped still resided within him. She needed him to confess, just for the police, but for her own peace of mind, for the countless victims, for justice. In that diner, facing the genuine compassion and desperation of the woman who truly cared for him, Charles Cullen finally broke. He began to confess, initially in vague terms, then with chilling clarity, detailing his methods and his twisted rationale. He claimed he was ending the suffering of his patients, offering a perverse form of mercy even to those who were not terminally ill. His confession was a chilling blend of calculated detail and detached justification. With Amy's unwavering assistance and Charlie's confession, the detectives finally possessed the irrefutable evidence they needed. Charles Cullen was arrested in December 2003. The news sent shockwaves across the medical community and the public, revealing the horrifying truth. A good nurse had been an angel of death for years, shielded by the very institutions entrusted with safeguarding life. Cullen ultimately pleaded guilty to the murders of 29 patients, the attempted murder of 6 others. However, investigators and prosecutors firmly believe the true number of his victims is significantly higher, potentially reaching into the hundreds. He was sentenced to 11 consecutive life sentences, ensuring that he would spend the remainder of his life incarcerated. The story of the good nurse transcends a mere true crime narrative. It serves as a stark and painful expose of systemic failures within the healthcare industry, the immense pressures on staff, the ethical dilemmas, and the devastating consequences of bureaucratic inertia and fear of liability. It forced hospitals to confront their shortcomings, to implement more robust oversight, and crucially, to truly listen to the concerns of their dedicated healthcare professionals. But above all, this is a profound testament to the quiet yet extraordinary heroism of Amy Loughren. A woman fighting for her own survival, she courageously put herself in grave danger to protect the lives of countless others. She risked her career, her freedom, and her fragile health to ensure that justice was served and that a dangerous predator could no longer stalk the halls of healing. Amy Loughren not only survived her own life-threatening heart condition, receiving a successful transplant, but she also emerged from this harrowing ordeal as a powerful advocate for patient safety. She bravely shares her story, dedicating herself to ensuring that such a tragedy never repeats. Her actions stand as a poignant reminder that true courage is often found not in grand, dramatic gestures, but in the unwavering resolve of ordinary individuals to do what is right, even when the personal cost is immeasurable. The Good Nurse incident remains a sobering, cautionary tale, illustrating how darkness can hide in plain sight, even within the most trusted institutions. Yet it is also a powerful testament to the enduring light of human courage and compassion, brilliantly embodied by the true Good Nurse, Amy Loughren.